Thank you very much for inviting me, Jeb, and the wonderful team of Social Research Institute, whom I got to know in June, actually, in Manila, when we attended Social Business Conference. Okay, so today we're going to share a short talk. It's really more a conversation, I hope. I'll share my experiences and my insight into this very interesting area, social business and also wellness. So let me introduce to social business. Not everybody really understands the concept of it. And then we talk about the wellness economy, something that is silently and growing, unstoppable way. Very important, it will impact every single one of us in this room and almost every single individual in the whole wide world. And then we talk about designing and operating a wellness social business with my own experience. And after that, we can really discuss about the broader impacts that it will have on all of us. And after that, we can have a Q&A. We can learn from each other. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about social business. Yeah. Now, when I first learned about the concept of social business, it was from dear Professor Muhammad Yunus, almost 17 or 18 years ago. When I met this man, he blew me away. He's a man who is called the father of microfinance. You know, microfinance is very prevalent in Thailand, right? Lend money to the poor people, right? So that allow them to break free. But he was a man who really made microfinance workable, first in Bangladesh, and then he actually brought this concept and really turned around a lot of people under poverty and allowing them to have capital. So Professor Muhammad Yunus, like many of you, he was a professor in Chittagong University in Bangladesh. So he was an economic professor. And it was during the recession in Bangladesh. And he was very sad because he said that many of his graduates from the university, they cannot find jobs. And the graduates are living in poverty. And so he was wondering, from the ivory tower in his office, he looked out the window and he see the slums and he say, what can I do about it? I'm a professor, but I can't help my country. So he started going down to the slum area and he visited many of these so-called poor people. And then he found out something that he didn't know as a professor. He found out that there are people in the slum area, they are weaving basket. So he was just giving a few examples. They have to buy bamboo and cane to weave basket, right? To sell. But these people are so poor, they cannot even afford $10 to buy the bamboo. And nobody will lend them the money. But the banks will not lend them the money because the bank look at them and say, you are unbankable. Right? You have no collateral, you have no house, no car, no nothing. So if I lend you the money, you run away, then the bank will get a loss, right? In the capitalist economics. So the banks are not serving the unbanked. The bank are not serving the poor. So he says, then where do they get money? And then he realized that these poor people are getting money from the loan sharks who charge very high interest rate. So what happened is that these people are forever stuck in the poverty because they get from the loan shark. He looks a bit like loan shark, right? So I borrow money from you, this loan shark, and he says, I will have to give all the basket to him. And then he sells it at a high price, but he will give me very little money. So as a result, the poor people are stuck in the quicksand and they never get out. So this professor says, let me do an experiment with my student. So he took out his own money and he loaned this lady, sorry, not lady, that lady, okay, $20 to go and buy the cane. He took out this money, he lent another $20 to this lady, to this lady, to this lady. And then he was surprised. He was surprised that in a few weeks' time, these people make the basket, they sell it, and they return the money to him. And he said, hey, look, these people are not crooks. They're trying to make an honest living to survive, to create wealth, but nobody trusts them. In the capitalist world, they are not treated like an individual worth lending money to. Therefore, Professor says the poor are stuck in the poor poverty life because they never get access to capital. That was how Professor Muhammad Yunus created the Grameen Bank. Grameen means village, so he called it the village bank. Okay, and this village bank, he started lending money to the poor, and the poor start to return the money. And when the poor return $20, you can start to lend maybe $50. And when you start to return the $50, you can lend $100. And this is how this lady start to not only make basket, gradually she start to buy a cow. Okay, so you start to buy a cow, and now you can sell the milk, and slowly her life comes out from poverty. So Grameen Bank became a phenomenon in the world, and it started the idea of microfinance. Now this is the man who wrote many books. I met him in Singapore. He just came to Singapore and gave a talk like that. In one of the university, if I'm not wrong, somebody invited him and gave a talk. I was blown away. I was blown away by his idea of social business. And he says this. He defines social business as a business with a social objective. I grew up thinking, why people create a business? Why? To make money. Right? For who? For the person who started the business. Right? Correct. So people always say, businessmen make money for themselves. Which is why sometimes we look at businessmen and you know, this guy is selfish and all, right? But basically, the idea that most of us grow up with is people start a business to make money for themselves. So if you and I, we're going to start a cafe in Chulalongkorn University, what is it for? It's to make money for him and for me. But he says that a social business is defined as a business with a social objective. Secondly, he says that it must be self-sustainable. Now, he used the word self-sustainable rather than he used the word profitable, because profit is given to the owner. But sustainable means that it is still profitable, but the money doesn't go to the owner. This is why he says it is non-dividend. In other words, the profit that is generated by a social business is not shared to the owner, in other words. Wow, this was a very mind-blowing idea for me. I was young, I was in my 30s. I was blown away. And then he says something that I caught, that it became my mantra until today. He says this: when I see a social problem, I create a business to solve it. Oh, how cool is that? Wow, you know, every now and then somebody says something that plant an idea in your head. Maybe it doesn't germinate immediately, but it has a lifelong effect on me. And since then, I have never looked at business the same way. I've never looked at solving social problems the same way as my old way as well. So this is very exciting. Okay, let me put to you the spectrum. Yeah, the spectrum of the three different kinds of organization that you and I can create. First, it is for-profit business, isn't it? The idea is to generate profit for the owner, you and me. To start a business like that, we all know we need seed capital, yeah? You come out with your money from your bank, I come out with money from my bank, then we call it a capital, we start the business. We must make sure that we run it profitably, but eventually, how much profit we make, it will go to your pocket and my pocket. Yes? And then there's the other end of it. We all know, charity. Charity say, no, we don't make profit. Charity say, no, we are not businessmen. Charity people will be very scared of associating themselves with business. No, we are doing good. Yeah, we are helping people, right? So there's a social need, there's a humanitarian or environmental or whatever. Yeah, human problem, yeah, society problem. Right? Maybe taking care of the sick, taking care of the terminally ill, taking care of the disabled community. We start a charity. We start a charity, we rely on donation, isn't it? So we donate money to start a charity, and then you need more donation to continue the work, and we need more donation, we need more donation. It's never ending. So charity exists based on donation, based on other people willing to give them money, which is very challenging, is it? Don't you think so? I've been supporting a charity in Kenya, in Africa, for the last 13 years. It's tough. I call myself professional beggar. I go around begging for money for the children. The one thing to note about what Professor Muhammad Yunus said, he said charity use donation, but donation is single-used. You use the donation to buy the rice, to feed the children, finish. And then you need more donation. You need more donations to buy food, finish. So every time it's single-use. Now, I love Professor Muhammad Yunus' idea of social business because he says that instead of donation, we can raise social investment. He says that we design a business to solve a social problem. And later on, I'll give you some example of Professor Muhammad Yunus' social business idea, okay, that has proven successful, all right? So he says that here we are addressing social needs like a charity, but we use a business vehicle, a business formula, so that it can be profitable. When it's profitable, the profit is not given up to the owner. The profit is reinvested in the business so that it can help either more people or to make the social business sustainable. Beautiful, isn't it? I never thought of it that way. And no business school has taught me that before. Right? Whether you take an MBA program, you take a business administration program, you take an entrepreneurship program in many universities. Okay, in the past, nobody talked about it that way, right? So this is where, to start a social business, we need social investment. So later on during Q&A, I can share a bit about one of the social business that I'm starting up in Africa at the moment now. I'm trying to start it up, okay? I'm now asking for social investor. So let's say Steven wants to be a social investor and contributed to me, let's say 1 million baht, okay? I use the money to start this social business, but eventually when I get in the profit accumulated, I'll return a 1 million baht to you. So you see, when the 1 million baht is used to start the social business, but because this is a business, it will generate surplus and profit, right? Eventually this money will come back to you. Now you can decide, you can donate, you can reinvest the 1 million baht for another social business, or you can use the money to do something else. So in other words, social investment is multi-use money. Donation is single-use money. Wow, that was very mind-blowing for me. And I thought this is really the way going forward for many, many things. I hope you kind of have an idea of social business, okay, because this is not a long lecture on social business. I kind of give you an introductions, but later on I'll share some example of Professor Muhammad Yunus' social business, okay? Now, let's turn the spotlight to wellness. Is wellness healthcare? Is wellness hospital? So let's clarify this wellness idea, yeah? I've been in the wellness business for the past 20 years. So let's talk about wellness, which is an unstoppable trend. In 1800, average lifespan in the whole world is 31 years old. Today is 73. Now, 1800 is long time ago, yeah? Let's don't look at so long ago. Just look at 100 years ago. For most of us, it will be like our grandfather's time, yeah? Or for the young ones, it will be great-grandfather's time. 100 years ago, global lifespan is only 50 years old. Many of the policy that today we have, retirement age, Thai is 60 years old, right? In Singapore is 63 now. Most of the policy were made over the last 100 years. But policy are not catching up to what is happening now. Because this curve is going up. Spanish flu killed a lot of people. At that point in time, technology is not there. No vaccines was created. World War II killed a lot of people. But it bounced back and it continued climbing. And then you look at COVID. COVID killed also a lot of people, but because of today's technology, it prevents a big calamity. Vaccine came out within 1 year plus, boom, it stops the death rate. So you could see that going forward, it will just keep going up and up and up. Thailand, 79.68, it's already 80. So most of you here today will live to 80. But we are not 80 yet, right? Right? The young lady there is smiling because she say, oh, 80 years old is far away. Yeah. Right? By the time she's 80, the lifespan will go up to 100. Agree? So most of us here is going to live 100-year life. The technology will basically be so powerful that it will keep you alive. But because of this longevity, on one look, it is actually good news, yeah? 100 years ago, there were very few old people. And because there are very few old people, we don't understand old people's problem. Agree? Like yesterday, I was walking around, in Bangkok. The road, you have to go up the stairs, right? Then you have come down, go up. So it's not wheelchair friendly, for example. But when I look around, mostly young people today, so no problem. But when it becomes a case whereby mostly older people, infrastructure, they become a problem. Government policy become a problem. The whole environment become a different kind of problem. So in other words, long life will create a whole new paradigm shift. Government policy, government faces challenges in allocating sufficient money. In the old, typically about 60, 70 years lifespan, right? We spend 20 years studying education. And then we spend another 30, 40 years at work. Then we retire 60 years old. No problem. Even you don't have a lot of money, not much, because 10 more years, you die. But now you retire 60, you got 40 years more to go. 40 years more to go has got 40 years more of finance, social, environmental, a lot of issues. So Social Research Institute, there's a lot of research to do in this area, yeah, don't you think so? Yeah, because it comes with a whole new challenges that not many people have put in place. I'm really lucky in the sense we live in Singapore. Singapore government is looking at this problem 50 years ahead. Today is putting a lot of money in retraining nursing people, for example. But if you look around the whole Asia, there are many countries that are struggling with politics. There are not many governments that are thinking about going 50 years ahead. But this kind of policy needs a 50-year mindset to put things in place now, to raise money, to do the right thing now in order to prevent a 50 years later problem. So I feel that this is an area that I speak very passionately about. And I hope to rally, not government, but rally individual, people like you and I, we can do something ourselves. You look at this. Wellness is not sick care, but sick care is part of wellness as well. Sick care is part of unwellness, if you look at it that way. When you go and see a doctor, when you get sick, right? You try later, you go to the clinic, you say, I have no problem, but I want to be better. Doctor, can you tell me? The fellow will kick you. Say, don't come and waste my time, I'm very busy. I'm taking care of the sick people. You look at Korea is striking. Until today, they're still striking. Malaysia just last month started a lot of strike because all the medical workers are too tired. They low pay, but they work like 24 hours and they feel unappreciated. Singapore are building another 2 new hospitals, general hospital. Together, Singapore, a small country, 5 million people, smaller than Bangkok. But we have 25 big hospitals, 25 general hospital, acute hospital, and community hospital. But where are we going to find the nurses? Today, Singapore government hospital already run out of nurses. And Philippines are now protecting their nurses because they know that their own country need more nurses. Everybody is now thinking about their own worry because every country is fast aging. Every country will have a longevity economy to take care of. So this is a challenge. And we look at another challenge. This is becoming a very important consideration for individuals like you and I, every family, young and old. Because it's no longer just a lifespan. Wellness is about lifespan and health span. And it is the health span that is now the key words that are being used in all wellness topic discussion. Health span. Singapore, just to give you an example, Ministry of Health a few years ago did a study. Singaporeans are now 85 years lifespan, very high. But compared to last 10 years, Singapore's last 11 years are sick. Generally, now it's an average. So the health span is getting shorter relative to the sick span in that sense. Are you all getting what I'm trying to say? You can live longer, but you're going to spend more years in wheelchair, needing caregiver, sick, putting tubes, taking medicine. It is not that much fun because it becomes a financial burden and it becomes an emotional burden for the children who are smaller in number now. Last time, one couple have maybe 5 children, 6 children, 10 children, yeah? Today, most of us have got only 1 child. I have only 1 girl. V, how many you have? 1.
1 girl.
Fast forward, yeah? That's why I say it implies on you too, because 30 years from now, 2050, we're going to have a lot more old people. A lot more old people who are not working. On average, 1 young person may have to support 6 older people in the world, on average. Do you see the economic stretch? This is a future problem. But many of the current government are not thinking about too far away. The need now, in my own opinion, in my own humble opinion, is we need to increase our wellness knowledge, self-care know-how, to the level of literacy. See, we spent 20 years training ourselves on literacy, ABC. How to speak Thai, how to speak English, how to read, how to write, how to add, how to multiply, how to subtract, calculus, basic math and all that, right? But just last week, I discovered that a professor, he doesn't know where his liver is. So we know a lot of things outside. We know a lot of things about the economics. We know a lot of things about money, a lot of things about finance, engineering. But we do not know our inside engineering. And this is an issue, isn't it? Because the older we get, we got to look after ourselves. How to slow down aging, degeneration, early. Not wait until you are 60, 70. But when we are young, we tend to work very hard. We are driving our body. The moment you hit 50, you start to see like old car, suddenly everything break down. And then you get into a disease period, and then you go downhill more and more. So this is an awareness, this is a knowledge that we all got to really teach in early school, right, to drive forward so that we have a healthier humanity going forward in a fast aging world. Fast aging and longer life, we call it the longevity ecosystem. Yeah? What does it mean? It can become a social crisis. In Asia, seniors aged 60 and above will grow from 700 million today. 700 million, which is like 10 Thailand for the whole Asia. But to 1.3 billion, which is like a China. It's a big group of people who are 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And this is a fact. It can become a social crisis in the not so distant future. In a future that we are all still alive. Some of us will be among the 1.3 billion. And at the same time, it is an economic problem. An economic problem not for the government. Economic problem for you and me. Because in the good old days, we say we spend 20 over years education. Oh, we get a master degree or bachelor, and then we start to work, and then we retire happily. Go holiday, whatever not. Make sure you have some money for your medical, and then you die. But today, it is a long life. The whole paradigm shifts, So in this book, it's called The 100-Year Life. It gives some very interesting insight. Go and read this book. So it says that now our education is not so much of training you to be an accountant. With an accountancy degree, you are guaranteed for your life or accounting No, AI will take away your job. AI will take away many people's job. We cannot even imagine 5 years from now what kind of new jobs, what kind of old job that will disappear. And that is actually a challenge. But then, on the other hand, you cannot say we can't do anything about it. So a whole new perspective about lifelong learning gets in. In other words, it's education, career, multi-career maybe, and then education again, because by then this education will be education that we cannot imagine today. And then multi-career again. And I would also say the new age of retirement will be a very different way. It's not totally don't do anything. So there will be a lot about investment, finance, economic education that all of us need to have to live a good long life, not a sick long life. There's a need for a new paradigm shift. So this is where it becomes interesting on a few longevity ecosystem. I put a few keywords here. Getting sick become very expensive. Already now, insurance premium is climbing, yeah? Sickness is going to be very expensive. Sick care is going to be at breaking point. If not today, it will be tomorrow. In some country, it will be earlier. In some country, it will be later. Like in Korea, like in Malaysia, it's already at a breaking point. Okay, you will read reports, but because I'm in the wellness industry, I know that people being pushed, father sick, pushed in the hospital, no bed, left in the corridor, almost like during the COVID time, and not enough doctors to treat them, for example. So sick care eventually will be a breaking point for many countries. So the desire to not be sick, to prevent sickness, become a very key consideration for common people like you and I, everywhere, in every city, all over the world. So this become a very big industry that need to cater for the world demand. Preventive wellness is the key now. But to live longer, you need more money also. The ability to generate continuous income to the right old age become a very big consideration. But jobs are scarce for the old people. So 60 years after you retire, it'll be very difficult to find another government job. Because by law, government will not be able to employ people who are older than 60 in that sense. Agree? So if you are working in the government for 40 years, let's say in the sector, then how are you going to relearn a new way of funding yourself? So you have to start doing that when you're in your 30s, maybe in your 40s even. Start building a whole new mindset about what do you do after 60 years old. It is unlikely that by the time you're 60, you'll be rich enough to do nothing for the next 40 years. So this awareness is also growing. So a new paradigm, new opportunity. With this, I will then go into kind of discuss what do we do about it. So if you're going to ask Professor Muhammad Yunus, what do you think he will say to you? He will say this: when you see a social problem, you create a business to solve it. So this is what we all should be thinking. And I give this talk often because I want to motivate, inspire, and trigger as many of us to start to think about what kind of social business that each one of us can start in a small or big way to help humanity on the whole, okay, in this area. Let's give some example to stimulate our brain. How about that? So these are a few very interesting business idea. It's not business idea, it's not idea, it's real business that Professor Muhammad Yunus have started. Bangladesh is an agriculture country. So 20 years ago, poor people in the rural area, they have no mobile connectivity. So these poor farmers have no idea exactly their crops, whether they grow rice or they grow whatever crops. How much are they selling in the city? They are at the whim and fancy, so they are at the bottom of the food chain, in other words. So they are forever poor, you get what I mean? So Professor Muhammad Yunus say that the farmers need to know what is happening. And to know what is happening means that they must have mobile connections, able to communicate with the outside world. So he says that this is a social problem for the rural people. And he says, okay, I'm going to start a social business to solve this social problem. So he called it Gramin Phone. Gramin, remember, means village. So it's called Village Phone. But you see, when he starts a social business, it doesn't mean that he starts a factory making mobile phone, yeah? Or he got to build long broadcasting tower with to do like a telecom like that, yeah? So he can't do that. So what he does is he works with a provider. So Telenor is a very big telecom company from Norway. So they came in to partner with Professor Muhammad Yunus. They provide all the entire telecom service, signal, right, and a phone and everything. And then Grameenphone, you have the phone. But the rural people are far away in the village. How are they going to get the service, in other words? So he started thinking about distribution. So you need to think about distribution in every business. So he invite these people, the Grameenphone ladies. So they become the famous phone ladies like this. They station in one of the house, and then they sell the service to the other villagers who needs to call, let's say, the city for informations and all that. So he created an employment opportunity for all these ladies who otherwise will not earn a single cent. So they are the beneficiary, they are also the distributor, they are also the entrepreneur, in other words. Oh, beautiful idea that turned out to be very successful, but now it's no longer working because now everybody has phone. So this was at a moment in time when there was a social problem. He created a beautiful and workable business solutions to solve the social business problem. At the same time, he created employment opportunity in the village as well. Okay, so this is one example. Then another example that he started, which is running until today, is called the Grameen Danone. Now he spotted another problem. The children in the rural villages are always sick because they are malnourished. They don't get enough vitamins and nourishment. So he asked how to help these people. Of course, like many people, you can actually start a charity, Feed the Children Foundation, yeah? Collect donation and then send the food there, but you will forever be depending on donation. But he said no. Let me start a social business, he said. It's called Grameen Danone. And he works with Danone. All of you know Danone, right? It's a very big yogurt company. And they make many food, yeah? Biscuit, milk, and all kinds of food, yeah? It's a big multinational. So this is a for-profit. Working with Grameen Danone is a social business. How do you distribute the yogurt to these children? So he created the Danone ladies. So these are the distributors, these are the entrepreneurs, these are the people who took up the employment opportunity. I wouldn't say employment, more of their own business, yeah? So they go around selling the yogurt, very, very cheap yogurt, to the village children. And this has remained successful until today. Now, in the modern era, let me give you another example. Okay, something that's happened in Singapore. So Seed Cafe is a social business. It serves the general public. It got to work with, again, another for-profit business, right? Springleaf is a food supplier. So they supply the food to Seed Cafe. Social problem here is that there are many special needs adult, autistic adult, disabled adult in Singapore cannot find job. So this Seed Cafe create employment opportunity. So they employ the disabled people to make the dough, to serve the coffee. So this Seed Cafe create opportunity to solve one of the social problem, which is employment opportunities for the special needs people. I just want to say this to all of us here. Any business can turn into a social business. A bank can be a social business. A university can be a social business. Professor Muhammad Yunus has set up a nursing school in Bangladesh that is a social business. And Professor Muhammad Yunus has set up another eye hospital in Bangladesh that is social business. It has a for-profit and a social business aspect combined into one. It gives very high quality cataract operations. So even the rich people will go to that hospital. But when the rich people go to the hospital, they pay the normal fee. Because if you pay the normal fee for a hospital for cataract, actually a hospital make profit, yeah? It will use this profit to sponsor the poor people to do cataract. So it's a Robin Hood formula, right? So you see, when your mind is open, many things become possible. From loss making, it can become sustainable. From highly profitable, who make a few people very, very rich and drive big car, but it can make this social business serve a social needs for a long term, so that more people can benefit. Now, let's talk about real design. So let me give you 2 examples of my own experience in running a wellness social business. So we are talking about designing and actually operating. I call it a school for entrepreneur, young and not so young. I'm very inspired by Professor Muhammad Yunus because Professor Muhammad Yunus provided illiterate village women who have never gone to school. Very early, maybe 14 years old, they get married and then they work in the field, do cooking, build houses, raise their children. They do not know ABC, they do not know how to count, but these people become entrepreneurs. I tell you, I'm very, very inspired by this idea. And many of us grow up thinking, got to go to school, you got to get good grades, get first class honors, and then find a good job, right? And then work very hard, then life becomes very hard. And you got to get a salary. But in India, let me give you another example. Barefoot College in Rajasthan, in a place called Tilonia. I went there and I visited this school for the illiterate. Barefoot College, if you have a degree, academic qualification, you are disqualified. They only admit people who are totally illiterate. When I went there, I see about 30 grandmother. They are from the village. None of them can speak English. They are learning solar engineering. They stay in the Barefoot College for 6 months and they return to their village as a solar engineer. And single-handedly, they solar electrified their whole village. Then you say, how they learn? I cannot imagine. That's why I went there. I saw there was this manual, but the manual had no words because they don't understand words. All pictures, color pictures. So they set up a system whereby this green wire connect to the red wire. On this particular circuit board, you just click here, you click there, you do this, you do that. So they learn by heart. Okay, every day they will just sit around like that. They do soldering, they connect wire and this and that. So after the whole thing, they go back home. The Barefoot College and the donors send all the solar engineering panels and everything there, and they fix up the whole thing. So the whole village is solar electrified. So who says illiterate people cannot learn? Hey, if we give them a chance. I was very intrigued and I was very excited, inspired by this idea. Yeah. So I don't think the normal formal education system is the only way. It's only one way, and we must empower more ways. So I call it a school for entrepreneurs. Yeah. So we all know that the wellness, we need to slow down aging. This is a big need now. If you are 50, you want to slow down aging. By the time you're 70, you should be feeling more like 40 and 50. But today there are people who are 50 years old but feeling like 80 years old, yeah? And that is bad news. You want to prevent disease, especially degenerative disease. You want to slow down aging, you want to prevent premature aging. You want to make sure that you stay fit, healthy for a longer period of your life. This is a need that is worldwide at the moment now. What do we do to satisfy this need? The solution is wellness education. Just like you and I are learning about social business now. People need to learn about wellness, preventive care. Learn about how they can take care of themselves better. We need to create wellness community. So some kind of support group is very, very important. And wellness product and services are very important. It's a holistic range of wellness service and products. So we create this kind of opportunity for people who are become wellness entrepreneur or wellness educator, of which I'm one of them. Wellness business trainer. In other words, I'm training people how to become entrepreneur. Not just become entrepreneur, but training them to set up their own wellness business. And to retail and distribute. It's just like Professor Muhammad Yunus says, you have a good product, but you can't get it out to the rural community, nobody benefit. So with this in mind, let me share with you that training entrepreneurs require a different mindset. And it also require a supplier, in other words, a for-profit supplier, proven system. So this is a company that I've been with since 2007 when it was launched. Last week, many of you were in my office in Singapore. Now we are in across Asia, 10 countries, coming into Thailand as well. Preventive wellness is the number one offering of this company. So how do I set up an independent social business in collaboration with Avita? So the first organization I set up about 17 years ago is called Center World. Customer is worldwide, everywhere. Anybody who wants wellness kind of service or product. Center World is set up as a social business. No dividends shared. So itself, it is sustaining, profitable, but the profit doesn't go out to anybody. It's run as like a virtual university. And Avita is a supplier of good products and the business system that support this social business. And the people who are using the service of this social business are entrepreneurs. And these are the people from all walks of life, all kinds. From career transitional means that people who are holding down a job but wanting to be their own boss, for example. People who are retired, people who are homemaker, who have never been to corporate world, graduate, non-graduate, professional, traditional business owner, retrenched people, including older folks as well. Center World Social Business serves everybody across the whole wide world. Everybody can join us. It's an experiential school for wellness entrepreneur. So we train them to become an entrepreneur. Now, if you look at it, becoming an entrepreneur is very different from holding down a job. If you are going to be a banker or let's say bank teller, all you need to do is know how to count money, and you're doing a robotic function. But being an entrepreneur is a slightly different thing. You're running a business of your own. Yeah, you're going to be self-motivated, self-starting. So it's not just about knowledge, not just the skill, but the spirit is very important. We always think that if you want to start a business, you've got to be very strong, you've got to be good at everything. In the new era, it's different. New era, there's no Superman. In the new era, it works on a team. So when you have a team, you may be very good in something, you're good in some other thing, and she is good in something else, but when you're all three can work together, oh, miracle happens. Okay, so this is what I thrive on. I focus on building teamwork that support one another and making sure that we have professors, so-called, the coaches, the mentors who will guide everybody through. So this is the social business called Center World that we started. We didn't get it right in the very beginning. It took a while, okay, but after a while now it is running on its own. It's profitable, like I say, but nobody takes whatever profit. Whatever money that is accumulated is plowed back into it. We run more interesting programs that fund itself. So it's like a self-funding university, if you look at it another way. So what do we train them on? Now, most people will find that this is a life skill for a long life, I call it. You must be able to plan, present, and organize event. Like today, there is an event that's organized here. Somebody must have planned it, organized it, and then somebody got to be able to present it. And while you're doing that, you are able to educate people. This is a doctor from Philippines. She's one of my partners in Philippines. So this is a recent 10th anniversary of the Philippine business, my business there. And she is actually telling everybody, don't just come and see a doctor when you are sick. She says that I wish everybody in the audience are able to look after themselves. And that is a higher order. Of course, there will be people who will get sick. So doctor will forever be relevant. But today, doctor is overworked. And this is where the imbalance needed to be corrected. And when you are able to have the kind of audience and have the kind of people who are enjoying the wellness, then what is very important is to be able to train more people. So I always call ourselves positive and good super infector. We go out there and infect more people. I hope that I can infect some of you here today to think about social business and think about wellness. And then, but you're not just receiving from me. If you can join me and go out there and be a super infector, then more people can benefit. So more and more super infector, the world become a better place, in my humble opinion. Okay, we need many more Professor Muhammad Yunus. We need many more social entrepreneurs. So to inspire more people and at the same time have fun. A good business is a experience of achieving happiness by giving your product, your service, and at the same time financially abundance. Okay, you're making good money, but at the same time you're having fun. Okay, that is a new age definition of a successful entrepreneur. But at the same time, unlike the many schools that's teaching business to be a very hard, very serious subject, I think what is very important beside that, the spirit of being an entrepreneur. The ability to go out there, like Professor Muhammad Yunus say, human beings are born entrepreneur. It's just that we get trained to become un-entrepreneurial. Okay, we think that business people must be greedy, business people are always thinking of themselves, We have a negative connotation of that. Okay, but we are born entrepreneur. And now we have to live up. And in the wellness economy, this becomes very, very important. I'll give another short example of another wellness business that I've created. Now, as part of the Avita product offering, there's this particular offering that is hinged on traditional Chinese medicine. Okay, the team from Social Research Institute experienced a little bit of it last week in my office. Okay, so this is another social business that is hinging on Avita, but I created another school. Now, this school is very specific. It is on the skill of traditional Chinese acupressure and gua sha therapy. Now, this is where, again, I created this virtual school. There's training many people who are very skilled in this and going out there and champion self-care. So we champion self-care in organization, in orphanages, in old folks' home, in hospital, in many organizations, including corporates, and impart to them how they can take care of themselves. Okay, it become a very big, profitable business, and I keep training these people to continue doing that. I developed a training system. They will keep training wellness educator, and then I developed this so-called a product, which is a talk that teach people how to take care of themselves. And of course, you need products, okay, and you need a business system. So this created an opportunity for more wellness educators to join me, and they are not just a wellness educator, they are also wellness entrepreneurs. I say when there are more entrepreneurs out there, they can spread the message and help even more people. So this is a glimpse of some of the activity that you see happening on a daily basis, like yesterday, Saturday, today. Things are happening all over Asia. In Singapore, in Malaysia, in this weekend in Malaysia, there will be a big gathering as well over there. This is the team in Philippines. They are non-Chinese, but they are all very good with the technique, okay, and they are all teaching it in different parts of the Philippines. But Philippines, I have a 10-year development there, so the market there is a lot more matured. Even in India, this is in India after I trained the 8 of them in Bangalore. And this is in Africa. So in Africa, I've trained about 20 over people there. They are looking after the orphanage in Africa. So they look after the teachers, the schools, the children, and including the volunteers who go to help out in this place. Yeah. I just want to tell a quick story about one person, okay, who in the normal working world will be at a disadvantage. Tinggi So is born as a pygmy, so she's only this tall. This year she's celebrating 50 years old, but she'll never grow. Okay, in fact, because of her bone structure, she has major arthritis problem. So in other words, she's born with a degenerative disease. She joined me about 20 years ago, and it was a long journey to work with her. Because in the very beginning, she was very self-conscious. She's a non-confident person. She feels that people laugh at her. It was a long journey to train her to become an entrepreneur. But the moment she became an entrepreneur, in fact, my whole Philippine market was developed by her. She flew to Philippines herself and she developed the whole Philippine market. Today, Philippines has a thriving business, okay, and it's thanks to her. This is her mother. Her mother is 86 years old now. But you see, I want to tell this story because Tinggi takes the wellness knowledge for her own body. And then she takes the whole knowledge to help her mother. Her mother now 86 years old, flying US, Singapore, Australia to visit her children every year until now. So Mama, 86 years old, had become healthier and healthier because of Tengi's knowledge. And Tengi now is also an entrepreneur who has created a passive income. She knows her arthritis problem will grow more and more serious. One day she may not be able to walk. But when she has created a business that sustains herself, it doesn't matter anymore. Financially, she will be secure. Okay? So I'm going to tell this story because there are many people who are like Tengi. There are people who are even more able and more normal than her, but in a far more difficult situation, whether it's financially, health-wise, and their family-wise. So this is where I feel that 100-year life has 100-year life kind of needs and consideration that require all of us to start when you are young. Alright, so there is a broader impact. I summarize this broader impact in this particular slide here. After all that I said, awareness of self-care must grow to the level of literacy. ABC 1, 2, 3 is equally important, if not more important. Empowering wellness entrepreneur, I learned it from Professor Muhammad Yunus. In order to change the world, it's not how good one person is. In order to change the world, is how can you create an army of good people. And when you have an army of good people who can create an army of good people, the world has a better chance. Empowering more people to be entrepreneur must be something that we talk about not in business school. It must be something that we talk about every day. In fact, if you go and listen to Professor Muhammad Yunus, every talk he gives, he will add this. Every one of us is born an entrepreneur. And Ma Yun, the Alibaba founder, says, we are not born to be a cow, to work for people for the rest of our life. We are all born to be an entrepreneur. I say that we need more social business in all disciplines, and we definitely need more social business in the wellness sector. We need social business that will help with people with diabetes. We need social business that will help with people with terminal illness. We need social business that will prevent kidney failure. We need social business in every dimension of the whole longevity ecosystem. So I welcome you. Research about it, write about it, encourage, inspire, motivate more people to start this worthy movement. With that, I will just come to the final segment of Q&A so that we can learn from each other. How about that? Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Stephen?
If I may ask a question that I believe is also in the minds of everyone in this room.
Yeah.
Let's use your own social business as an example, Central World.
Yeah.
It makes intuitive sense for example, the entrepreneurs who then draw on the profits generated. Likewise for Avita that supports the social business.
Yeah.
But the curious question is, for a social business entrepreneur like yourself, where does your income come from? So it makes it possible to do this for a very long time, especially in a society like ours here in Thailand.
Okay, very good question. So you see, from Professor Muhammad Yunus' example, the Grameen phone, right? Grameen phone ladies, remember? So Grameen phone ladies must be able to generate a profit for herself. Otherwise, she will not find the incentive to do that, right? So every entrepreneur must make money. In fact, you must make good money. In other words, it's that if the phone lady is able to serve many rural people, she will get richer. So the incentive for her to be richer is to deliver more value to the rural community. So in the same way, like in a social business like Central World, it's the same. My income comes from three main sources. So if let's say our friend want to ask me how to help with his health, and depending on his area of needs, I may recommend some of the products, for example. So you see, if I recommend product, I'm actually selling product, isn't it? So through retailing this product, he actually will give me money, right? So I have an income there. So this is one of my profit that I drive from helping people to actually benefit from Avita products. This is number one. Number two is through service. Service means that I sometimes will be asked to give a talk in an organization. and Microsoft, hospital, many of them actually are very interested to help their own employees. So they pay people like me to educate their employee, maybe 100 people, right? So if 100 people, each one is $10, then that is $1,000, right? That is another source of income. Now the third source of income is through distribution. Now distribution means it's a network effect, okay? So let's say our friend here, what's your name by the way?
Beb, please call me Beb.
Oh yeah, baby, right? You say baby,
Yeah,
right?
baby,
Yeah,
yeah.
baby. Okay, so let's say baby, after using my product, feels that, hey, it actually helped him, help his father, help his mother, help his neighbor, right? So he may ask me, he say that, hey, look, Alvin, is there a distributor in Thailand? I say, no, I'm far away in Singapore. Would you like to work with me in partnership? Let's say, yeah. So if baby say, yeah, I'm keen, right? So now I can sit down with him and say, hey, can I appoint you as a distributor? Because if you are a distributor, you can distribute not only in Chulalongkorn University, maybe in your hometown, in your province, in Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, in Pattaya, I don't know where, yeah? So he can become a distributor. Now he can run a distribution network for the whole of Thailand. Now all these collective sales of service and product are also part of the income that I will get. So 3 areas: service, second is good product. Like I say good product. Okay, not all products are good, but if you have a good evidence-based product that will really help people, it will travel. Third is distribution. It's just like Mohammed Yunus. You have one good product, only one customer buy. But you need to create a network of distributors in the form of Grameen ladies or the Danone, the yogurt ladies, in order for it to proliferate, yeah, multiply. So this is the 3 forms of income that I get. Yeah. So I get income from Philippines, from Singapore, from Malaysia, from Thailand not yet, yeah, because Thailand is baby market. I only have a very small customer base here at the moment now. Cambodia, Australia, Japan, Taiwan, you know. So in some of these countries, I have a bigger distribution network. Some of these are smaller. But everywhere I go, I give talks about wellness education. I hope it kind of help you to understand.
Thanks, Alvin.
Yeah. But different social business have got different social business model. Right? But a lot depends on what kind of, like the seed cafe, the only one source of income. People come, buy food or drink coffee, drink cappuccino, then they get a profit. That's all. There's no other income, no distribution, because only one cafe. Whole Singapore only one seed cafe. Yeah. Right. Maybe one day they will open more branches. Maybe one day they'll open a branch in Seed Cafe in Chulalongkorn University. That will be run by him, this cafe man. Yeah. Okay. Then you can employ special needs people from Bangkok, for example. Then maybe 5% of your overall revenue will go back to the master franchisor in Singapore, and then they will create one more source of income. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for yeah.
Alvin, can you please, you talk about wellness.
Yeah.
You talk about the essentially meridian.
Yes.
Can you dig more into details a bit more about what you're doing in terms of the wellness, the product you are selling?
Yeah. In essentially Meridian, it's complicated. When it first come out, right, I have no idea how to sell this product, because these are essential oil. I mean, there are many essential oil. Yeah, in Thailand there are many herbal essential oil, but these essential oil are a little bit different. I studied quantum physics. I was studying bands when I was in university in London. Quantum physics has got to do with energy. Yeah, energy transfer, quantum transfer. Okay, until I started this business, I said, hey, this is energy transfer. So what happened is that different herbs has different natural frequency, energy. Example, lavender. If today we use lavender here, all will go to sleep, right? But if you have stomach problem, you cannot use lavender. Lavender has no use. If you want to wake up, you use mint, right? So you want to go to sleep, you cannot use mint. Right? So in other words, every herb has a different frequency that will impact on certain meridian system in our body. Okay, systemic health, this is called. Your digestive system, different herbs. Your respiratory system, different herbs. Your nervous system, different herbs. So these are the different herbs that comes with it, and this energy enter into our body through different acupressure point. But it's very interesting because this is like battery that charge your system, but you must know where the point to trigger. So as a result of that, I created a training system. So like this lady here, she knows where to apply the oil for what purpose. Maybe to take care of digestive system, maybe to take care of the reproductive system. So I now try to reinvent a tradition and make it modernized. So we run it in a workshop series that is very fun. So we created it into a lifestyle learning. So wellness education must be fun. If it's fun, then there's a selling point. Then people learn, after learning, there is a support group. They can plug into the community of practitioners. So we all practice together. So this is how we make an attempt to raise the wellness consciousness up. But it must be profitable. It must be profitable for each and every one of these partners here. Because if they don't make money, then how? You call them volunteer? Right? Volunteer, like all charities, sometimes they come, sometimes they don't come. But if I can make them my business partner, it is a higher order, I feel. So it can be more sustainable in that sense. So they now travel to Malaysia. Some of them give talks in different countries, different cities, different corporates.
One more question from me.
Sure. You can have.
So what is the profit model for these educators? Do they get salary or they get
No. Remember I mentioned entrepreneurs. I don't believe in salary. I hire nobody. I'm solo, but in my network I have 15,000 people all across Asia. I have 15,000 people working with me, or they could be like baby, just my consumer. So they can be my consumer, but they can turn on. If anytime baby say, Alvin, I want to be an entrepreneur, I say, okay, you join Center World, the experiential MBA program. Then we will guide you on how to run it as a business. But once they become an entrepreneur, they are entrepreneur. Entrepreneur means that you must add value to the marketplace. If you don't add value, why should you get an income? But in an employee situation, I'm not saying all of you, but there are people who they wait for the month end to get salary, right? But every time they have a chance, right, they will go to the toilet and play game, right? So to me, employee mentality, sometimes just waiting for the paycheck. But the moment you are entrepreneur, like Professor Muhammad Yunus say, you must go out there and solve problem. If you can go out there and solve problem, and if it's a social problem, best. If it's a business problem, good. Any problem, also good. You only get an income or you get a revenue by adding value to the marketplace. So this is my teaching in the Center World Business School, that you don't deserve any money unless you add value to the marketplace.
Could you please explain more about the relationship between the 3-0 and the concept of the social business from the Muhammad Yunus?
That one and need another 3 hours. Right? I encourage all of you to read Professor Muhammad Yunus' book. Now actually, I find that today with YouTube, right, it is so convenient. You can just search Muhammad Yunus, A World of 3-0, and you can actually get a lot of talk by him. But still read his book. I feel that the book is very comprehensive. Yeah, the 3-0 is what 3-0? Zero poverty, zero carbon emission, and zero unemployment. Now let me ask you, right? Do you believe in this 3-0? Professor Muhammad Yunus believe in that. Okay, I believe in that. But it will take a while. But it's not sitting here passively waiting for it to happen. It will not happen. It requires all of us to make it happen. Zero carbon emission requires a lot of consciousness. A lot of consciousness in not wasting things. Yeah? So environmental, this is your subject, a research subject, right? A big problem today, a bigger problem coming in the next 20 years, but it's a race. It's a race like wellness, degeneration and regeneration. So if the regeneration can catch up a little bit, the degeneration can decelerate more. Environment is a big, big issue. Today, you look at it, nobody is paying attention. Donald Trump is saying it's a hoax. It doesn't help. And no one paying attention because all the money has gone into the war, gone into making more weapons. And when you make more weapons, you have more carbon emission. So this is one area. Zero poverty, is it possible? I believe so. It's a 50-year project by all of us. Because, in my humble view, this is my own predictions, many people who are well off today, who are in a good employment job today, may lose the job in the next 10 years. And I will not be surprised that many people who are well off today will get into a poverty 10, 20 years down the road if you're not careful. We all know people, friends, who are working very hard. Only dependence is on end of the month, your paycheck, your salary. How many of us are thinking about how to use this money that while you have it, to invest for the future? The consciousness is rising, but not enough. Because by 60 years old, you have no job. For example, if you're a government guy, what are you going to do for the next 40 years? You're going to learn from there? Maybe a bit too late. Because investment requires time. But the world is going more tipsy-turvy, more disruption. So going forward, it's going to be challenging. This is a reality. It doesn't matter how good you were before. One day, you're not careful, you get into a situation whereby he can actually become a poverty guy. Poverty is a different sense. I'm not like less than $2 US dollar a day kind of poverty, depending on where you live. Yeah? So, zero poverty, is it possible? I believe so. But I buy Professor Muhammad Yunus' thinking that every person on planet Earth is an entrepreneur. We just need to turn that on. It's like iPhone. Every iPhone is a camera. You just need to turn that on. And if you can turn that on, you can empower people. They can start small. And then they can grow bigger and become more successful. But you have to train them on entrepreneurship. Not just doing a job, but entrepreneurship. Like I say, able to plan, able to organize, able to present, able to train other people, able to mentor other people, able to inspire people, and then at the same time having fun doing all those things. Yeah.
Okay, maybe like in terms of like sustainability of social business. So if your business doesn't go well as we expect, so what we have to do, like we have to keep reinvest.
That's a good question. Sustainability of social business. Social business sounds very sexy, but I tell you something, right? It's easier to be an entrepreneur, for-profit entrepreneur, than to become a social entrepreneur. If Granwick and me were to start a cafe to make money for ourselves, it's easier because there's only two of us to consider. But if we start a social business and we hire 3 special needs, he's wheelchair bound, she's autistic, and this one deaf and dumb, for example, it's more difficult because now it's not just our responsibility, it's our responsibility for them. It's our responsibility to create a business whereby people will come, our customer will actually patronize us and continue giving us that kind of business. So social business is not automatically easy to do, which is why it's very important to plan well, to have that entrepreneurial spirit first before you become a social entrepreneur in that sense. Yeah, I give you an example. At the moment now, I'm actually having a challenge. I'm trying to start a truck delivery social business for Children's Garden Home in Africa, in Kenya. So Children's Garden Home is a home whereby street children and orphans from the street come together and they grow up in this home. 200 children live there. So the older brother and sister look after the younger brother and sister and they grow up there. So we set up a home, we set up a school. Now, many of these kids have grown up, the pioneer generations, So the older boys and girls are 20-something, 24, 25, My vision is to help the founder to set up social businesses run by the older boys and girls. And if all these social businesses are running well, 10% of the revenue in a year can be contributed back to the charity, which is a home. So if over the next 10 years, if we have 20 social businesses that are running well, the home will be self-sustaining by their own children who grew up from that home. Beautiful, right? I tell you, I'm very excited about this vision, yeah. But it requires a long time. So now, one of the boy, his name called Alvin. Last year, I was there to open a school for the special needs in that home. And Alvin just got his driving license. And the home, during the COVID time, a few kind-hearted people, Singaporean and Americans, we pool money and we bought a farmland up north, about 2 hours away. That is now growing maize, growing cabbage, growing kale, growing potato, tomato to feed the children. So the farm is a long-term food sustainability program for the home. But to bring the harvest back from the farm to the home is a 2-hour ride. They need a 4x4 pickup truck to bring the harvest back. At the moment now, Moses, who is the founder, he used his donated Pajero to go and bring the farm produce. So Pajero is big but not big enough, not like a pickup, yeah? And it runs on petrol, which is very expensive. So I say, okay, but I'm not going to donate a truck, because donating a truck will be a problem for the home, because the home now need to look after another truck. So I say, let's use the truck and make it into a social business. And then once a week bring the farm produce back, but every other day run it like a truck delivery business. Possible? To do delivery for people in Nairobi. So Alvin is going to run this business. Now I'm coaching him. I'm in Singapore and he's in so far away. We need to set up a social business system that will run profitably. So in other words, he and Moses and the team there need to set up a business team, needs to find customer, needs to learn how to make sense of how much to charge, how to service customer, how to do accounting to make sure that all these are done properly. So setting up a social business is not always easy, but it is worth doing it. Okay, I hope it kind of like, again, a long answer to a very short question. Yeah, thank you very much, and I really thank Jab for and the whole institute for inviting me here. It's a pleasure, it's an honor. Thank you very much. Sawadee Krap and Kokun Kap. Thank you. Thank you.